got to talk about it. The Baltimore Ravens, they finally got their Robin to their Batman. Lamar Jackson has been doing it by himself for as long as he's been in the league. They didn't want to put receivers around him. And now this roster is really shaping up to be well-rounded. As I called out to you, Dub, before we got into the recording, Rashad Bateman has really been doing a great job stretching the field, being that deep threat. You can always count on Derrick Henry, King Henry, to get the ball and do his thing, get upfield. He started off slow against the Bucks, but as always, third quarter, fourth quarter, he turns it to another level and just went crazy on the Buccaneers defense. But not to deviate too much, going back to this Ravens offense, which is prolific, the only weakness I see right now on this team is their ability to pass block. I've seen Lamar Jackson take a little too many hits. I think their O line struggles with the pass blocking. They can get a lot better there. But looking at what we've seen from this team, I mean, Lamar Jackson threw 5 touchdowns last night. I saw the stats. When you look at quarterbacks in NFL history, we're not talking about in the past 5 years, the past 10 years. In NFL history, the most games with 5 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Lamar Jackson is now third, tied with the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger, only to trail Tom Brady at 8 and Drew Brees at 8. So he's definitely going to get that before his career is over with. You got King Henry, who at the current moment is first in the league in rushes, first in the league in rush yards, first in the league in rushing touchdowns, first in the league in yard per rush, first in rushing first downs, first in the longest rush, first in scrimmage yards, first in scrimmage touchdowns. I'm done. If we had to think about between the two, who's the MVP at the moment? If you had to pick one, who would you go with, Doug?
I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry. And you know how this works, man. Once you have accumulated, a few MVPs, people have a tendency not to want to pick you again and give someone else a chance. Kind of like LeBron James. Like LeBron James
Mm-hmm.
should have more than how many MVPs he have? Like two, three. He should have
Yeah.
more than that, to be honest with you. So I think that applies here with Lamar Jackson. And I'm not trying to compare Lamar Jackson to LeBron James, but he is within that same company in terms of what's going on in the football space. So
Yep.
I'm gonna say Derrick Henry, just for him to lead all categories and rushing is just a tremendous thing. And then on top of
Mm-hmm.
that, he's like 29. He's like 29. Tell in my opinion, for him to still be rushing that hard, running that hard at 29, that's just really unheard of. When you think about people like Ezekiel Elliott or Le'Veon Bell. Those guys when they got around 30, things got a little shaky. Very elusive guys, downhill runners. But as you all know, Derrick Henry takes really great care of his body in the off season and during the season. He only eats 1 meal a day, so he's fasting all day, eats 1 meal a day, which I don't know how he does that and maintains that size. And then his preparation in the off season is just insane. I mean, he's running hills, but he's not running hills just upward. Like he's cutting, he's working on angling. So he's the epitome of a professional. So if I were to have to pick between the two, I'm picking King Henry.
Yes, sir. And I like that analysis. And to your point, I think part of it is not only is Derrick Henry just great as a running back. He's in the 10,000 yard club. He's about to enter into the 100 touchdown club, or entered it last night. I can't remember if he was at 98 before that touchdown or not. But I mean, just prolific. He's physically imposing. I don't think we've ever seen a running back, and will ever see a running back again with that type of physically imposing stature and that ability to get downhill in a hurry the way that he does. We've seen big guys,
You
right? Like we've seen big running backs, but we haven't seen it. What was that?
Bo Jackson,
Bo Jackson is nowhere near
oh
Derrick Henry size.
OJ Simpson.
OJ Simpson is nowhere near Derrick Henry size.
I think both of those guys are over 6 feet, like 230.
I don't think OJ Simpson is no. I'm gonna have to look it up
We're
right
gonna,
now,
we're gonna have to
dude.
fact check that later. But those two guys are pretty big guys, bro. And then there's another
OJ
guy.
Simpson was 6'1", 212. Derrick Henry every been a 6'3", 240.
How big was
Derrick Henry 6'3", 247, bro.
how big was Bo Jackson?
Probably about 6 foot, uh, 215. Okay, they say he 230.
And
Six
then
six six one 230.
so there's another running back. Oh, what's his name? Freak. Just as good as all those guys I just mentioned. Played for the Raiders. God, Allen. Last name Allen. Last name Allen, number 32. Can't
Oh,
remember.
Marcus Allen.
Mark, big guy, bro.
USC legend.
Big guy. What's his height? What's his weight?
He ain't big as Henry, bro. Marcus Allen, 6'3", and let me see, weight probably about 220 max.
So I'm gonna have to look that up. Needless to
210.
say, yes,
He's
yes, yes.
6'3", 210. You ain't
Okay.
gonna find a running back this as big and fast as Derrick Henry. You ain't. We can go down the list. We can talk about Eric Dickerson. We can talk about whoever you want. Emmitt Smith. We can talk about
Well, Emmitt Smith 5'8", 5'9", about
no,
5'8",
I'm just saying we can name all the greats. There
Yeah.
ain't been a great this as big and fast as Derrick Henry. Pause. Um, yeah.
I don't know.
So, but even with
We gonna
that
ride
being,
out. We gonna ride out. We gonna
we
ride
go right out. Even with that
out.
being
All right.
said, me personally, I gotta go with Lamar Jackson, and it's simply because he's the reigning MVP. When you look at them bringing Derrick Henry into this offense, the first thing that one would think is, oh, Lamar Jackson's production is going to go down. He's not going to run the ball as much. He's not going to throw the ball as much. For whatever reason, they've been throwing more now than before that when they didn't have Derrick Henry, which is beyond me. They're throwing the ball more. It definitely seems like from the games that I'm watching. But even with them throwing the ball more, I continue to see improvements in his game from year over year. Lamar Jackson continues to put in the work in the offseason. He continues to study. He continues to do whatever to sharpen up his game, whether it's making throws across the field, whether it's reading defenses, whether it's making smarter decisions on when to run and when to throw the ball away. I continue to see him make plays that you're not going to see a play on SportsCenter where Lamar Jackson didn't see anybody open and decides to just throw the ball out of bounds and live to see another down. You're not going to see that on SportsCenter, but that's something that you continue to see in his game that you didn't see early on. Like, again, he would either try to run the ball or force the ball and throw an interception. There were a lot of times in the game against the Bucks last night where he could have tried to force the ball and could have possibly threw an interception. He time and time again made the smart play. So looking at the game he had last night, looking at their schedule going forward, looking at what's on his shoulders, that chip of, okay, we finally made it to the AFC Championship last year. I kind of didn't show up against the Chiefs. We lost 17-10 at home. It's not happening again. I don't think it's happening again. I think this is the year. The Chiefs look great, mind you, and I've learned you don't bet against the Chiefs. I have yet to bet against them this season. Won't do it. However, even with them being undefeated, this is the year that the Chiefs are going to be in for a rude awakening come playoff time, because as this offense continues to mesh, they continue to work Derrick Henry in and working in different wrinkles. This team is going to be a problem. I got Lamar Jackson winning the MVP. I got the Baltimore Ravens possibly going back to a Super Bowl for the first time in several years
Okay, I can respect that.
to take on the Detroit Lions. But we'll get into that later. We're not going to go all the way into our prediction here. So that's our thoughts on it. Dub has Derrick Henry as his favorite. If we had to pick between the two for MVP, I've got Lamar Jackson. But it don't matter what we think. We need to hear from y'all. What are your thoughts? Would you take Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson as the MVP? As always, we need that Mercedes-Benz treatment. CLS to be exact. Comment, like, subscribe. We'll be back with more from me in the arena.